Hello, guys. Today I'm going to be talking about social emotional learning and kind of what I've learned this week from our class videos and the readings and a couple of the journals that we've went through, plus one additional website that I found online, which was pretty cool. So the first thing is, what is SEL? So SEL is social emotional learning, and it's the process of learning how to understand, manage, and become aware of our emotions. What it teaches students, as well as honestly staff members that work with it, it teaches us how to manage our emotions. It teaches how to have empathy towards others and to show care and concern in social situations, how to recognize others' feelings, which is pretty big for some of our students. We work on how to work with problem solving skills, how to work out their problems in positive manners, how to work through issues that might be holding them back or down, how to maintain healthy relationships and how to build healthy relationships, and how to learn and make responsible decisions and choices. I think that's a big one, especially for some of our students that struggle with emotional issues and social issues that feel that they need to make the decisions of someone else or the same decisions as someone else in order to fit in or be in the in crowd. And I try to run away from that as much as possible. I think that is one of the biggest positives of SEL. I really like this quote, and I thought that it really sums up how I have learned to like SEL and social emotional learning, but how I also feel it is impactful on our education. And it's the real core of education is the relationship between the teacher and the student, and the extent to which that relationship nurtures the longing of the child to matter in the world and the longing of the teacher to nurture and fulfill that desire. And that sounds like a lot in there, but truthfully, what it really means is to teach these students and to teach yourself to want to better your students and better yourself emotionally through their relationships, in any ways that you can to learn more about them to improve on your classroom behaviors. The core practices of social emotional learning are self awareness. And with self awareness, this is basically taking a look at ourselves and being able to recognize what we do well and what we do not do well. Um, this is a chance where we get to make that checklist of, okay, here's my positives, here's my areas I kind of want to work on, and this is how I'm going to get to it. Next on that one is self management. So basically, we're taking that list and now we're managing how we make those changes or how we implement changes throughout our throughout our interactions with others. This is the ability where we start to learn to regulate our thoughts, we regulate our emotions. We really take a look at ourselves at this point. Social awareness is how we are around others, how we view others, our empathy and care and concern towards others. In the classroom that I work in my behavioral intervention room, social awareness is quite a big one for us. They don't really recognize, my students don't recognize their behaviors outside of the classroom around others. And sometimes that can get them in trouble, and other times it can get them, unfortunately, picked on, which I absolutely hate to see. And so I think that to be aware and to show empathy and to have concern for others is a big one. And then that also leads into the relationship skills. I think with the relationship skills, this is teaching them to establish good relationships, quality relationships. I think we need to define that word good as a relationship that leads to a positive rather than a negative, someone that builds you up and doesn't break you down, recognizing those around you that possibly bring you down. And then the last part is responsible decision making. This is the power of choice. We want our students to understand that there are good choices and bad choices out there, but be responsible. Make the choice that maybe sometimes is a little bit harder, but it's that right choice. Maybe that's telling on a student that's your friend. Maybe that's walking away from a situation that you know is not right with people you know. And maybe that is just standing up for what you feel is right. And those are the decisions that we want to instill in our students, is those positive step forward decisions. The data is out there. At first, it was not. So I believe it was our Castle video that reported it's taken about 15 years for all the data to come in. But as we can see on a large scale study of over 270,000 students from kindergarten through high school, and that's important. And that's in all the research that I've gone through is that it's very important to start as young as we can and to continue all the way through high school or as later on in school as we can absolutely get. But the studies show that the students who participated in some type or in an SEL curriculum improved their academic achievement by 11%. 11% is a lot, especially in a small district like I work in. If my student increase could be 11% in one school year, that would be huge. Again, I have a small populated school. That would be quite large if I could see an 11% change. As we also see, as Castle reported, there's an 83% increase in student academics. Students are making the responsible choices to want to do their work to try to buy into that system to make self improvements. Students are also 2 times more likely to earn a college degree, and students are 50% more likely to graduate high school and receive full time employment by the age of 25. And I think that's because of the lifelong effectiveness of the SEL program and what it teaches. It's got the power to establish lifelong patterns of social behavior, emotional skills, equipping individuals with the means to address and overcome stresses in their life. They live healthy and they live a fulfilling life when they are able to have the tools to correctly manage their emotions. So, in closing, what is social emotional learning? Social emotional learning is basically the process of learning how to deal with our emotional skills. How do we deal with what's going on when we're angry, when we're sad, when we're frustrated? How do we deal with that? How do we use that as a positive and still use that to motivate ourselves? I think the reason why it works is because of these 5 steps right here, because it teaches self awareness, self management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision making. And again, I think with that responsible decision making, that is what helps those students achieve graduating high school and then going on to college. They're able to take all of this knowledge and work through it in a healthy manner. They're not overwhelmed, or I should say, they're not always overwhelmed, but they're able to take the knowledge and deal with it in the correct ways and use it to move forward when they fail. They're not feeling the best. They struggle. They're able to turn it and use that. My experience with social emotional learning is I've worked in a behavioral intervention classroom for the past 9 years. I've had teaching on different styles of behavior intervention. Um, Still to this day, I think the ones that work the best are the ones that teach self reflection, self management. I am a huge fan of mindfulness. I think that kind thoughts and kind feelings can go a long way with our social emotional learning. And I also work and teach self-regulation. And truthfully, even as a teacher, it's kind of funny, but I find myself doing the self-regulation skills in front of my students and with my students. So I hope that you guys learned a little bit about social emotional learning. I hope I didn't bore you guys too much. The next page is going to be my references, so I'm going to kind of stay quiet and let you guys see that. Thank you guys again so much. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to chatting with you guys again.